So where were you born?
I was born in Birch Hills, Saskatchewan, in a home which was known as a half a house in the way it was built. A Dr. White and another doctor delivered me in the house.
And the doctor said something when you were a little older, I think, right?
Well, I had convulsions when I was a baby, and Irene was slightly older, so Mom sent Irene to a neighbor's house that was very knowledgeable of all these things. And she sent, the neighbor came over and told Mom to bath me in tepid water and a little warmer, and just kept doing that. The doctor said if I had another convulsion, I would have died, but I didn't. God was with me.
So how many's in your family?
4 boys and 1 sister, Lloyd, Earl, Norval, and Roy, and Irene Jackson.
And where did you live?
We lived in different homes. One was across the track from the elevators, and I was about 6, and I was so worried about being late for school, and the train was across. Within my mind, I thought, oh, I can make it. I crawled under the train, and it started about 2 seconds after I got through. So God was with me again.
What is important to you?
Well, God and family. At 8 years old, I gave my life to God, and it was very precious to me. God first, family second, and your job third. Of course, I don't work anymore.
So what did you want to be when you were young?
I wanted to be a movie star, and I always kept that in my mind. And later in years, when Roy was in the Navy, he got to Hollywood and he phoned me. And I got here first.
And what was your favorite subject in school?
Probably writing. I was pretty good at writing. I wasn't good at math. In grade 7, I made 100, and the whole class clapped.
And what about sports?
When I was quite young, our class went to Canistino to play basketball. And I was never good at any sports, but I did win the winning. I threw the ball in the basket.
Did you have any nicknames when you were growing up?
Yes, until Roy was born, I was called Baby. And then Sibby, and Dad said Splucia. He was just trying to get my goat. And I didn't like that name, so.
What was your favorite nickname?
It was Sliver. That was used a lot too.
So what was your first job, and what did you end up doing for your career?
My first job, well, I was a babysitter, the town babysitter. Then at around 16, I coaxed my dad to let me go to a job I had seen in the paper in Winnipeg, looking after 2 children for a lawyer and his wife. And I went there, and I looked after these 2 children and took them to movies and everything. They loved me, I think. When I left, she cried.
Tell me about your career.
Well, at the age of 18, I moved to the coast where my sister lived. I worked at Essendale, just outside New Westminster, a few miles. It's a mental hospital. I worked there for about 10 months. Later, I worked at the Royal Columbian Hospital just in New Westminster. While at Essendale, I was taking psychiatric nursing. While in British Columbia, I got pretty lonely and I moved back to Saskatoon. Then I came back to Saskatoon, and my first job was at the geriatric center where Kelsey is right now, or it used to be Kelsey. At the geriatric center, they had what they called a waiver clause, where usually a CNA would have to go to school for a certain length of time. Because of the schooling and work experience, a friend and I took a 13-page long exam at the university and got officiated through this waiver clause to become a certified nursing assistant. Now they call them LPNs in Alberta. I finished my career at the Children's Rehabilitation Center. I worked in occupational therapy, physio, speech therapy, and looking after the kids. That was a very fun experience to watch these children grow. While working there, I often rode the bus, the bunny bus, and picked up the kids. There was a mother riding the bus one day, and she had 2 or 3 children in wheelchairs. And before she said anything, I was complaining about it's raining and the house will get all dirty and muddy with the footsteps. And she says, I wished I could say that. And it makes you think what others go through. I was complaining about cleaning up a little mud, and she had 3 children challenged. And it just makes you think what others go through and how little we think of this at times. When Ken came into our life, he immediately loved the girls. Ken and I both, we said, I love you to each other every single day, and multiple times at times. My dad, John Purcell, taught me that to always say I love you. And it's so true. You end your day with saying I love you. And Ken filled that empty spot in my life where I missed from my mother and father and the many gatherings we had from the beginning of time. Well, I have 3 girls. The oldest, Sonia, and her husband, Murray, are in Saskatoon. Arlene and Donna and her husband, Rick, are here in St. Albert. Donna and Rick live about 5 minutes away from here, and we hear from them often. Don't always see them, but talk every day. I have 2 grandchildren here, Annalise and Brandon, and 3 grandchildren in Saskatoon, Dan and his wife Jordan, Sherry and Chris and his wife Jennifer. I also have great and great grandchildren, mostly in Saskatoon area. In my first marriage, my husband had a son, Bobby, and I grew to love him very much. He was easy to love. He married Jan, and they also had 2 children, Joelle and Greg, and we hear from them also. So it's a family affair. because family has always, always been so important in our whole family. After working at the geriatric center for about 8 years, we moved to Davidson with Bobby, my first husband's son, and Sonia. And Arlene was born in Saskatoon, but we brought her home to Davidson and as a baby. A house at 2202 Broadway.
Tell me about the homes you lived in.
Well, we rented a place for $75 a month. I looked around and I found a place that's for sale, 1525 Avenue H North. I was so proud I was able to buy that house because people, even my friends, said, no, you can't, it's too much. And I told them, just watch me, I can, and I will. Later, Ken came into my life, and he built a garage and also expanded the kitchen and other areas of the house.
That was a very special place,
It
wasn't
was a very, very special place where we held weddings and showers for different family members, parties. A Boxing Day breakfast went on for years. Ken would do the eggs from 7 till 11. Anybody that came late after 11 done their own eggs. And I made the other sausage and toast and things like that, and visited. We had a lot of guests come and go, and everybody talked about it for years after. Our family missed that breakfast.
Tell me about Shell Lake.
Well, we built a cabin and made wonderful friends. Ken built a garage onto it. And while he was building the garage, he brought some of his students to help erect it. And I cooked deer steak and moose steak for all of them, and then pies, or I think it was pumpkin pie. And everybody seemed to enjoy it.
So you had 2 houses, one in Saskatoon and the cabin.
Yes, and it just got too much. I was always cleaning the house in Saskatoon, then going to the cabin, cleaning it. It just got too much. So we moved out to the cabin, sold our house in Saskatoon, which was tear-rendering because there were so many memories, but you can take the memories with you. We had many friends, a lot of church friends and surrounding friends, and people within the area we lived. We'd have coffee parties or just send a note, coffee and donuts, come to the Zeehs. We first stayed with Arlene in her home, and it was packed to the roof of with our stuff. Then we built a house, and I'm sure Dad went every day to check on what was going on, and we added a few things, and it was a great place. And oh yeah.
So to have somebody build it and not be surrounded by sawdust, how did that feel? That was a first for you.
Well, we learned some things too, that you shouldn't saw wood right inside the living room. I didn't think fast enough to tell them.
We used to call you Mrs. Clean.
I liked a clean house, no clutter, no ashtrays, no dirt.
Where did you travel in your life?
Well, I went to British Columbia, Ontario, both places we have families. Part of the States, I finally got to Hollywood at probably age of about 70. In 1976, Ken came home and asked if we wanted to move to Africa. We all said no, but a few weeks later, we moved to Kumasi, Ghana, in West Africa, and on our way there we went to England, Switzerland, Holland, and many wonderful experiences in Africa. We had many experiences wherever we traveled. Dad had built a trailer, and we all slept in that. Oh, no, at first it was the back of a truck and then a trailer. And we had many experiences, met a lot of interesting people. Over the years, I've had a lot of real, true, long-time friends. When I first started the job at the Geriatric Center in Saskatoon, I became good friends of the seamstress and Grace Carrington, and we became very close friends, and she became the godmother of my 3 girls, and that was very special. We went on many trips, Grace and I, and just enjoyed each other's company. While in St. Albert, we made some wonderful friends. Rick's mom and dad became very close and welcomed us as part of the family right from the beginning. Made many friends through church, and friendship, the true friendships, is so important because some go on for years and years and years and forever.
So have you ever seen anybody famous in your life?
King George VI and Queen Elizabeth came by train and stopped momentarily and threw some type of a coin. I think I still have it. And that's the most famous person I saw from a distance. In 1976, Prince Charles came to Ghana, West Africa. I saw him look in my direction. He probably wasn't looking at me, but he looked in my direction.
So, Mom, what are your final thoughts?
I want to thank everybody that's joining us today and all over the many years in the past. Our friendship means a lot to me and always has. And thank you for joining in our Zoom, and God be with you, and you're all prayed for.